Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations with Curtis. This is going to be a lot of fun. What a unexpected and delightful surprise we have today. As you all know, we've been streaming. Tori and I have been streaming the seventh guest the last couple weeks, and Tori wasn't available to join us this week. And on a kind of a whim, we reached out to Graeme Devine to see if he'd like to step in, and lo and behold, he said yes. So Graeme's going to join us in just a few minutes, and he and I will get a chance to chat a little bit. We'll have a little conversation, and here's how it's going to work. I'll talk to him for maybe 25, 30 minutes, kind of get a chance to hear more about him and his life, and then I know you will all have many questions, and so after we chat, we will open it up to you, and we'll do a live Q&A. And Daniel and I will both moderate that and field some questions and ask him those. And then we are going to pick up where Tori and I left off last week, and Graeme himself will join us for a little seventh guest gameplay. Let's see what he remembers. So yeah, we'll bring him out in just a second. So before we do that, just very brief announcements. We're going to be, Daniel and I will finish or not finish, but continue the Monkey Island stream on Friday. Next Monday, we're doing our very first official side quest, which is going to be the Blackwell Legacy, one of Dave Gilbert's games, his early game from 2012. And then the following Monday, Dave Gilbert himself will be joining for a conversation, and he will be hopefully playing some of his game too. So that's just getting more and more fun to get the creators of these games to play them themselves with us. The other thing, last week we sort of moved away from the super chat thing on YouTube because we found out that YouTube is taking 50% of all the donations that were coming our way. And we've moved over to this coffee site, which lets us keep over 90%. The problem is that we didn't get to use the fun widgets and the fun sound effects and the fun text, chat to text speech. But Daniel Albu, being the mad genius that he is, has found a workaround. So all of our coffee widgets, anytime you donate on coffee, those widgets will show up. And he's made a whole bunch of new ones for today. That said, we're not going to have any widgets activated for the first 35, 40 minutes or so, because we want to be respectful to Graeme's time and not have these things kind of pop in. So we do have a goal for today. If you are able to contribute, we'd love you to do that through Coffee. You still can do so through Super Chat, and the widgets will show up later on when we're playing the game. But and if you do decide to donate early, there will be a widget that will acknowledge you. I just am not going to stop. You'll see it. It'll be very simple, and we'll go from there. But we'll talk more about that later. I'm just excited to bring out my guest today, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to read a brief bio from his wiki page. So Graeme Devine is a computer game designer and programmer who co-founded Trilobite, having created the best-selling game Seventh Guest and 11th Hour. Also helped design ID Software's Quake 3 Arena. He was chairman of the International Game Developers Association from 2002 to 2003. He was born in Glasgow. I want to hear about his growing up there. And joined Atari at age 16 to port their classic game Pole Position to Commodore 64, Apple, and ZX Spectrum. If you look at his LinkedIn page, it's insane. He's been with Apple, Activision, Virgin Interactive, Lucasfilms, Microsoft. So this guy likes to keep busy. So everyone, please welcome my guest today, Graeme Devine. Hey, there you are.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I'm humbled to think that you take a little time out of your day to play with us. I really appreciate it.
No, glad to be here.
Yeah. So we're gonna.
The sum of all fears is always the same.
Oh, thank you, Cope. Okay. So Graeme, I know we're gonna dive into the past, but. So why don't we start with where you are right now? I'd love to, other than the background, which looks like we're in one of the rooms of the mansion. But what are you working on? What you've been focused on lately?
Started a company called QXR Studios, which is at the end of the not the end of the pandemic. It's not ended yet.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Back in 2020, I was working at a company called Magic Leap, and at Magic Leap, I was doing lots of projects. I was working with the United Nations on climate change. I was working with the Royal Shakespeare Company on a new version of A Midsummer's Night Dream. I was working with a group of people that I really liked working with on both those projects. And unfortunately, Magic Leap laid off everyone that was vaguely creative in one day and decided to change their direction to pivot to being a business-oriented company. But we really liked working together, and we really liked the projects we were working on. So a group of us decided to band together and form a company called, at the time, Quarantine Studios, which we thought was really clever. Now it's called now QXR Studios. And in the beginning, we focused on XR because Magic Leap was a XR-based company, and we focused on still XR things. We did one little project with an author called Kate Moss, who's a UK author. Called The Ship of the Dead, which was one of her short stories. And then I noticed a lot of people were playing one of my other old games from 1987 called Metropolis.
Yeah.
That's a point-and-click adventure game. And so we started to do a remake of that. It's a cyberpunk game, but it's very much a Douglas Adams comedy cyberpunk game. And I'm like, hey, I'm the original cyberpunk game person. I don't care there's another big cyberpunk game coming out. I'm doing my cyberpunk game, and it's funny. There is a rabbit running for mayor, the elevators are on strike, and there's problems to solve here. So we've been working on that for a little while, and that's coming along great.
Fantastic. When would we hope to see that be available?
I think we have a collectible card game version of it out already. That you can go and you can try that out for free. That just gives you a little bit of taste of the Metropolis universe. We have motion comics out, which tell you more of the backstory. So if you go to qxrstudios.com, you can find out more about.
I did when I was doing a little research on you. I stumbled upon that, and I started the game, and I could tell right away that I was going to get completely caught up in it, and I wasn't able to put the time in. So I'm dying to check that out a little bit later. But that looks really, really fun.
So yeah, that continues to be our focus, and it's a lot of fun. Continue to work with some fantastic people there.
Well, it just seems like there's no end. One of there's a quote on your that I think probably still applies. There's a quote that is right at the top of your wiki page where you say, "I've not stuck to any one genre, platform, or IP throughout my career, and I hope people eventually work out that's just fine." Is that something you still sort of subscribe to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, probably my most famous game is when I left Apple, I started with a little company called GRL Games, which is still going today. And GRL Games is Graeme, Rocky, Laurie, my daughter and my wife. And I started that company to show my daughter, because she was in high school at the time, that, hey, growing up, you can do anything. You can be a sculptor, you can be a poet, you can be an author, you can run for president. Because high school seemed to be showing her, your future is a cubicle. Your future is.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, Don, you can do anything. So we're going to start a small company, and you're going to be part of it. And so I left Apple thinking, hey, we're going to make the next great game, the next great big adventure game. And my wife and daughter were like, no, we want you to make a solitaire game. And I was like,
no.
Okay, I'm Graeme Devine, the great game maker. No, solitaire game, Dad. So I made a solitaire game called Full Deck Solitaire. And
it's called what?
It's called Full Deck Solitaire.
Full Deck Solitaire, okay.
And it's been the #1 game on the Mac App Store since 2012, I think, for the last 10 years. And
now, did that take you like 5 minutes to put together, or how long did it take?
You don't know how many versions of Solitaire there are. There's over 80 versions that we have in that game, and we haven't even touched all the games. I had books going back to the 1800s describing Solitaire games, because people would write in saying, hey, my mom used to play this Solitaire game called Gaps, and can you please add it to your Solitaire game?
And then you have to look it up and find it and find a way to program it and put it together.
And it would have these strange wordings, because in the 1800s they wrote about cards differently, and some of the cards had 14 cards in a suit instead of 13, so we had to amend the rules slightly. And so it's been an ongoing adventure. But my daughter would come into the room and she'd be holding her iPad, and she'd be saying, Dad, I don't think you can program this, but I have an idea of how to improve the game. And so, of course, I'd be up until 4 o'clock in the morning doing that thing.
Well, now, how involved was your daughter? Now that she's got her name on the company, so did she stay?
Oh, yes.
Did she stay interested?
She play tested that thing all the way through launch, and she stayed interested for a long time. She actually gave a talk at the Game Developers Conference some years later, and she went through each one of my games that I'd made with her, and she criticized every one of them. And she said, this is what's wrong with them from a teenager's point of view.
From a teenager's point of view.
And it was, fascinating because as an older game designer, you stop realizing that you aren't making games for that generation. And so getting a teenager's point of view is critical.
Right.
And so after the talk, all these game developers are rushing up with their business cards. Can you look at my game? Can you look at my game? Can you look at my game?
Oh, so she could potentially, I'm curious what she's doing now, but she really right there could have created a career for herself where she simply could just look at people's games and give her teenage opinion.
Yeah. That was incredible. And so it was just a great moment to be there on stage with her, just to give a talk and have her go through.
Oh, that's wonderful. How's what is she focusing on now these days?
Now she actually she's the manager of a boutique hotel in Carmel, California, which that's a crazy adventure on its own, let me tell you.
I was back in the day, I grew up in Southern California, so I was in the Long Beach area, and for years I worked part-time as a concierge at the Queen Mary Hotel. So I'd be go to the boat every day and sit at the front desk, and it was customer service of people from all around the world who want to have everything their way. Boy, you really have to be quite patient in that world.
Yes, she tells some great and anonymous stories.
That's great. That's great. Well, it's funny you talk about your daughter as a teenager. You were quite the prodigy yourself as a young man. So like hearing that you started your career, with Atari at age 16. Can you talk us through how that came about?
Yeah, that was actually my second job because I worked at Soft before that, made my own games. I made Firebirds and Softmon and stuff before then for the Spectrum. And one day in the back of Computing Today, there was an ad for Atari saying, "Hey, we're looking for programmers." Um, and so I made a version of Pole Position for the Spectrum just overnight that was just wireframe that I took up to Slough, England, which is where Atari's headquarters was, and I sat in a room in the waiting room with all these other older gentlemen who were not older; they were 20.
Right. Ancient,
but
by
ancient by my comparison. But I was the only one who showed up with a demo of Pole Position, of the track moving around on the Spectrum, and so they were yeah, we'll take you.
Well, let's back up. So what was do you remember what drew you in the first place? How did these are early days, so there wasn't a lot of opportunities, or I mean, how did you get started in the computer business?
My dad worked on a mainframe computer, so on the weekends I would get to play mainframe games. So my very first computer game was Adventure, and that game it's the game with infinite graphics, right? There's a bunch of text. You're in a field, and there is a building in the distance, and you can approach the building, and then there's the cellar, and you can go to the cellar, and there's the cabin caves, and so forth. And so I tried forever to find out how the listing of this game works, and then eventually I got the Fortran listing of the game. And it's not very long. It's 4 pages of Fortran. It's not a humongous game, but from that you can learn programming. You can learn a little bit of programming, how logic works. And then my dad managed to borrow a TRS-80, and that was really my first computer. And he was able to borrow that for like 3 months, and so I learned Z80 assembly, and that was the same assembly code as was on the Spectrum and on the Amstrad and on just a lot of these computers. And so I learned assembly code, and from there.
There's a full circle thing going around here. Your father working in computers, bringing one home and getting you involved. You've now taken this to the nth degree, and now starting something up with your daughter, which is great.
I never thought about that, but yeah, you're absolutely right. It's kind of a full circle.
So then I did read a story. I'd love to hear you share the story about how your work at Atari did not go over well when you were in school.
Oh, yes, that was unfortunate. This is so Atari can put a lot of pressure upon a 14-year-old to finish a game. And so Pole Position, they obviously wanted it out for the Spectrum because it was going to be a big earning title for them. And so I was in school at the time doing my A-levels, which is a big exam in the UK. And so I went to my parents and said, I've just got to take a week off to finish this game. I need to focus on the game for a week to get Atari out of my head so I could focus on my A-levels. So my parents agreed. So I did it. I took a week off school and I focused on Pole Position, and I got Pole Position done, or mostly done. Done enough so there was just bugs left to fix, just little things rather than the roads not working. And so I went back to school, and instead of saying I had the flu or I had a cold, my parents said, "Hey, be honest." And so it was, "Hey, I took a week off to finish a game," and because you all knew I was working at Atari. And so at the end of assembly that day, the vice principal said, "Hey, you've got to go to the principal's office." And I went to the principal's office, and they expelled me. This is like 4 weeks before my A-levels, and your A-levels require you to go to university. And fortunately, I'd already been accepted to university I just had to fail to go in. But still, I was expelled, and I had to take my exams externally, and that was unfortunate.
And just short-sighted, right? Just not, just the opposite of what you want an instructor to be. I mean, they could so easily have seen how you could have. In fact, did I not hear or read that you actually gave them a floppy disk of what you did as a
Okay.
sort of a way of saying, look, this is the kind of work that I can do within the realm of computer
I gave my
science.
science teacher a floppy disk of the game, of all the source code. And then years later, my history teacher wrote and said she's retiring, and in her retirement speech, she wants to give examples of school trips, children that she's taught that the school has not done well by, and she wanted to use my story. And so she asked if she could, and I said yes. And so I would have liked to be in that audience that day.
Yeah, I'll bet. Really. Oh man, that's incredible. So yeah, so then you get so what brought you to the States? Well, I'm sure it had to do with with your work. Where did you go? How did you end up coming over here?
I was working on Metropolis, and I finished Metropolis up for a company called Mastertronic, which was a British company that did budget games in the UK for £1.99 or something. And it published a lot of games, and we made a lot of games for them. We did lots of little games at a company at the time in the UK called IC&D. And one day, Martin Alper from Mastertronic said, "Hey, Graeme, I'm starting up a US division of the company in California. No one knows how to turn on a Commodore 64 or an Atari ST or an Amiga. Will you come across for 6 months and help us start the company up?" And I was like, "Sure." And so
How old are you at this time?
I'm 22, I think, 22. This is 1988.
Right.
And so I went across, and
where were they located?
they were in Irvine, California.
Irvine. I know Irvine. That's a soulless place, isn't it?
But met my wife in a bar called Jasper's, arguing about Batman, and
Oh, well then you're golden, right?
we've been married for 33 years now.
Is your wife from Southern California, Orange County?
Yeah, she's from China Lake, which is the naval base, which is just inland in Southern California. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I that's kind of my. I was a little north of Irvine. I was up in the Seal Beach, Long Beach area, sort of all that.
Oh, she says that she's from Huntington Beach. That's where she grew up. Is actually.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because that's that's closer to that. Yeah, that's boy. I haven't been back in a long time. I know that's changed quite a bit, but yeah, a good place to grow up. No, that's great. That's really neat. And so you go there, and it's funny. I'm noticing. I just have to, as a sidetrack. Growing up, spending all your formative years in the UK and Scotland, you've been in the States for how long now? Probably 30 plus years.
Since 1988, so yeah, 35 years now. Yeah.
So you have this mashup of a dialect now, right? You probably lost. So I imagine when you go back to Scotland, you get some kind of people must look at you like, what? You don't sound like us anymore.
Yeah, I get pretty much. I sound like a BBC spokesman.
But you haven't gone full California, so thank goodness you still have maintained. Some of your roots.
No, I take the trash out. I've stopped driving on the wrong side of the road now. I've got through that stage.
You walk on a sidewalk.
I walk on the sidewalk. I do all those things, yeah.
Oh, that's great. All right, well, let's talk a little bit because I think it must be fascinating for you, someone who, like you just said, you have the number one game right now that for however many years with this solitaire game that you guys created, and yet this game you created 30 years ago with your partner at Trilobyte Seventh Guest is the game that just lives on, right? And it's you're attached to it forever, and people never tire of it. I imagine it's even gotten more popular over the years just because of how accessible it is now. Do you get tired of talking about that old game when you have so many things that you're doing now, or what's? Tell me your experience. Not so much making the game, but just what's your experience being that guy, that people want to hear from.
Oh no, not at all. Never. I don't think Rob and I ever do get all get a feeling that this is something we don't want to, you be part of. It's part of who we are.
Yeah.
And it was such a process of making it that that's it. It chiseled into our souls. I don't think it's possible to draw that out. So
Yeah.
we're glad that what's better that people ask you about it and say, hey, tell me about the seventh guest thing, or everyone forgets it and never talks about it again.
Yeah.
What's the better of those two scenarios?
I'll take the first one. Yeah. Well, it was such a groundbreaking thing, and you paved the way for so many. I mean, you pay. In fact, I think I owe you a thank you, because if it wasn't for Seventh Guest, people like Sierra wouldn't have jumped on that bandwagon and done their own version of it, and I would never have been hired in Phantasmagoria. So thank you, Graeme. I appreciate it.
I was actually meant to work at Sierra back when I started Trilobite. Right before I started Trilobite, I actually accepted a job at Sierra, and Ken Williams had me go up to their town in California in
Bass Lake or something, right? Yeah.
And walk around there, and I talked to Ken and Roberta, and because I'd known them anyway, but and I took a look around, and they said, hey, we wanted to start on multimedia, and I'm like, great, so do I.
Was this before you were working? Is this as you were just about to start Seventh Guest, or
just about to leave and go? I was thinking about leaving Virgin, and Rob and I hadn't yet written the Seventh Guest game design, and so, but we were about to go on that fateful trip to New York where it all spun off, and so I came back and said, yeah, I'll do it. Just send me a letter, with an offer. And so, meanwhile, I came back to Virgin headquarters, went off to New York. We wrote the game design. Martin fired us, and we went and formed a Trilobite. But on the night before I was moving to Oregon with my wife, Ken Williams calls me up and says, Graeme, why aren't you sitting in your chair?
Why aren't you sitting in your chair?
Because we have a chair here for you to sit in. We have it all set up. Why aren't you sitting in it? Like, Ken, you never sent me an offer letter. I never heard from you guys again after I left and said, hey, send me an offer, and I'm there. He goes, what you need? You actually needed an offer letter to come up? I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I actually did need an offer letter to make that step to leave Virgin and go to Sierra. And so he's like, well, what does it take now? What percentage of what game do you want? And I'm like, it's too late. I'm going to Oregon.
You're in the car pretty much, right? You're all packed up.
We've rented a house. We've done all the things. And then years later a couple of years later at CES, on our very first showing of Seventh Guest, we actually took Seventh Guest to CES, which was in Vegas at the time. And Rob and I got on a plane from Medford, Oregon to go to Vegas. And we had this version that was all temporary artwork, all blue screen out of a 3D studio, and a bunch of little bits of video, just a demo. And we'd just taken it to show Martin as work in progress. It was not meant to be shown on the show floor at all. And so we took it, and behind, in the meeting room at the Virgin booth, we showed Martin, and he's like, this is amazing. Can we put this on the show floor? And we're like, what? And he said, we're putting this on the show floor. And so he put it on the show floor, and immediately, the booth gets crowded and crowded and crowded. And on like day two, Roberta comes along, and she says, hey, Graeme. I'm like, hey, Roberta.
This is after you had decided not to work there. This is way after now. Okay, but were there some tensions after that, or did it?
Oh yeah, she's like, hey, do you mind if I bring back my programming crew to take a look at this? And I'm like, no, go ahead. And so she brings back her programming crew, and she points at the screen and she goes, I told you this was possible. I told you this was possible. Now we're going to go back and we're going to make this possible. So I'm like, oh.
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, then you make, you make Seventh Guest, and I want to backtrack just a teeny bit, because I've heard the story where you said that when you brought the idea to your boss, was it Martin? Is that right? And that he brought you in and said, well, first, it's a great idea. Second, you're fired, and I'm going to set you up. Was the firing really his way of saying, this is too good for you to be doing what was, I'm kind of curious, was that more of a favor he was doing you, or was that,
Yes.
okay.
It was. He took us out to lunch at an expensive milkshake place that made healthy milkshakes, and said, "Virgin is pivoting to making cartridges for the Nintendo and for the Genesis." And I just made Spot, the 7-Up game, which is the microscope puzzle for the NES.
Hi, sweetie.
So that was doing well. And he's like, that's our future. Your future is to go make this, and this is a marquee game that we need to make. But you can't do it at Virgin, so I'm going to have to let you go and give you a contract to go make it.
That's great. And he didn't.
So,
what's nice is that he could have said, "It's you stay with us, or you go do your thing." But he actually said, "You're going to do your own thing, and I'm going to help you get started."
as long as you do a floppy disk version too.
Oh, interesting. All right. How did that go?
Well, it never came out. Because,
Too big.
no floppy disk version.
No, right. So yeah, I'm curious about so Seventh Guest, you do that, and I've seen some of the behind the scenes footage, and you're especially the FMV stuff. You were making that up on the fly. No one was. I saw some of them. You just had blue drapes in a room somewhere, and just shooting this stuff, and then you go and see. I'm not sure how much you played these games, but when Roberta does make, Phantasmagoria, and then Gabriel Knight and all that at Sierra Online, they're taking what you've created, and again, I don't know any of the, I'm not technical at all, so I will stumble over any of the logistics, but you're seeing them take what you've done and build upon it. How do you feel? How do you feel about that when you see what they do? Are you? Does that? I'm curious what your thoughts are when you see what they do with your. Yeah.
Always good, and always that's a validation. It's never there's competition. Oh my gosh, it's always just validation of here's a direction that works.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun to see. It's funny, when Phantasmagoria came out at Trilobites, the morning of the launch, 60 FedEx boxes showed up on our doorstep, one for every employee of Trilobite that contained a copy of Phantasmagoria.
Wait, did Sierra send those to you?
Yeah, Sierra sent us each a copy of Phantasmagoria.
So
they remembered. They remembered.
Was that a gift or was that a dig? I mean, was there what was that?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think Myst had on its box Leapfrog's Trilobite 7th Guest. And we didn't even know about Myst, and Myst didn't know about us until we both came out around the same time. And then it was like, whoa. And if you talk to Rand and Robin, they were the first they heard of 7th Guest was when Broderbund said, "And you are going to be much better than 7th Guest, right?" And they were like, "Yeah." And then they went away from that meeting and said, "What's 7th Guest?" And so I think there was a general feeling amongst all three of us, everyone making CD-ROM games, of just improvement. And technology is going faster and faster and faster, and also just but it was friendly. It was always friendly.
Yeah.
Anything other that was.
There was it seemed to me that. Well, I guess this is not this is just something that really happened, but like for a short period in those early 90s to maybe 96, 97 or so, maybe a little longer, there was a real FMV, it just blew up, right? There were tons of games that started coming out, and then it wasn't able to sustain for numerous reasons. And I have a couple questions. Like, of those games that all came out during that time, did any of them stick out to you as like, wow, that I really like the way they did that one? And B, why do you think it died such a quick death? I mean, it didn't fizzle out. It seemed like it just went away. I'm curious why.
I think production on them was expensive. I think that's one reason. Because rendering at the time, if you look back at our rendering, it was simple. You look at this background here, it's very simple graphics card could run it now. But back then, a frame took minutes to render, and it was very expensive to go make those games.
Yeah.
So the pre-rendering was expensive, and there was a general feeling in the industry that we were moving towards real-time 3D. And I was friends with John Carmack. At id, both our companies used NIX computers as our development environments, and we both knew, because we used NIX, we both used Steve Jobs, who ran NIX at the time. And so Steve said, hey, you should talk to John. John, you should talk to Graeme. So John and I became friends. And so John was always sending me emails of like, I'm coming at you in real time. I'm coming at you in real time. And it was Quake 1 at the time. And, at first it was very simple 3D, and then Quake 1 got better and better and better. And Quake 1 was finally a benchmark in 3D. It was great. And then Quake 3 was even more of a benchmark. And I think the feeling was that this is going to be real time. And we have moved to that now. We have moved to to real-time mocap, as well as real-time games where I can be part of it. I think we've lost a little bit of the ability to be part of a story, but I think back on games like, especially like Half-Life 2, in the very beginning when I'm in the machine room and there's just everyone walking around, being part of the story. And I can be part of that story too, or I can act like a jerk. But really, most people, I think, want to act like part of the story and go listen in on the little story bits and be part of the ongoing story. And that, to me, was the height of FMV. It wasn't actually FMV because it was 3D characters being rendered, but it was the culmination of everything that we'd gone through to get narrative into games. And that's really what we were doing, was trying to get more narrative into games. Move us on from where I'd started, driving a car around a racetrack, no narrative, to now we're telling a story.
Well, the narrative is left, right, left.
Yeah. To now we're telling the story of an alternative dimension in making it.
Yeah, it's funny that, and it does seem that there is a, from what I'm learning right now, that especially in the UK, there's a whole new group of developers that are making these newer FMV games, or else they're more, interactive movies, I guess is another way of saying it. But they're doing some really interesting things. I'm starting to, like, Sam Barlow does some really fascinating stuff, and we just started playing Contradictions about the Liar, which is really fun. And so it's some really cool ways to utilize filmmaking, which is so much easier to do now, than back in our day. And that's the one thing about, I'm not sure if you ever played or saw much footage from the game that I was in, but they were really moving towards, I was very fortunate in that they were moving away from the blue screen. And so everything that we shot were on sets and locations, and so we actually filmed it a lot like a movie.
The sum of all fears is always.
We just got a little tip from James Jenkins. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. So yeah, I would have loved to have seen. I guess it just couldn't have sustained back then because it wasn't in a position that it is now to be able to make these things a little more cost effectively.
Yeah, London Tower had more exterior scenes that are outside the house.
Yeah, I saw some footage of it. We'll end up playing that too, I'm sure. But that looks much more similar to what I did. Yeah. So.
It had its own sets of challenges though, because it's much harder to integrate interaction into those environments. So it gets challenge, and also from the compression point of view back then. Oh my gosh, everything's moving every frame.
Yeah, right.
So
sure.
It's a different set of challenges, but definitely became the direction.
Is there any interest on your end to dip your toe back into that world again?
Well, on the weekends, I've been making a new version of Clandestiny still. That's real time. I love. Trial Bite's third game is called Clandestiny, and I loved that game. It was my favorite of all the Trial Bite games. And it's an F&B game with a cartoon, because my favorite cartoon is Scooby-Doo. I wanted to do a cartoon game. But we were, at that time, Trial Bite was getting to be towards its end, and we didn't do a good job on all the F&B in the game because we couldn't afford the time to render all the scenes properly, and navigation was hard. But the game's still my favorite game. And so since then, I've been working on and off on, how can I make a real-time version of this instead of navigating the house the way you do in F&B, with all the puzzles being in F&B, how do I do a real-time version of this that still tells the narrative story of the game, because the cartoons are so good? And how do I, have 4K versions of those cartoons, and how do I have? So I'm hoping to bring that back.
Is this something you say you're working on? Is this something you're working on by yourself for now, and then eventually once it gets to a certain point, you'll expand, or is this all you?
It's all just me on my little side weekend little project.
That's so great.
Yeah, and it's been. If you follow my Twitter, you'll see like every year or so I'll post a little update as to here's Clandestine in high res, here's some of the house stuff.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, the reconstruction of some of the rooms.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, this is there's a lot of folks watching and chatting and enjoying this very much, and so I've already gone about 10 minutes over what I said I would do with our conversation. It's really fun chatting with you. But if you have a question for Graeme, now would be a great time to ask it. I will do my best to monitor the chat and get as many as we can in the next 20 minutes or so. And so, yeah, write those questions now. Daniel, if you're watching as well, you can let me know. But let's see. So in the meantime, so one of the questions that I have, or at least, is it true that Seventh Guest was somewhat born out of your love for The Shining and your love of the gameplay, or the game The Clue? Is that the right combination?
Oh yeah, The Shining, Clue, and Twin Peaks. That's the original napkin. Clue because Virgin Mastertronic owned the rights to Clue, and that was our sales pitch to Virgin of, hey, let's make Clue, but let's make it The Shining with Twin Peaks.
That's great.
Twin Peaks was on the air at the time, and Rob and I loved Twin Peaks. We were Twin Peaks' biggest fans. We both owned the Laserdisc set and both owned the soundtrack, and both that to us was TV perfection. That first season was just incredible.
Yeah, it was super.
If you were live back then, on week by week, you literally waited 7 days for the next episode to come out, and oh my gosh!
And just some of the most uncomfortable watching experience, but just those moments that just took on. He was just so incredible at giving you something you recognized, and then just turning it and making it so creepy. Oh, that's great. Well, I've got a bunch of questions coming in here, so let me dive into them. So Zuki wants to know, how much does the difficulty reputation of the seventh game puzzles make you laugh?
It's funny because we don't actually change the difficulty in Seventh Guest except for the microscope puzzle. And there's that thing in the manual that says, beware going to the library. And so it had people, writers, say, oh my gosh, I never went to the library once to cheat because I didn't want the game to change at all. And the game never changed. Yeah. Except for the microscope puzzle did get a little bit easier. That one did get easier if you went to the library.
I think we just did that one. Yeah.
You did the mic. Did you do?
Did we do the microphone? Did we do that one? No, we didn't. I got the thing. Everything's hard for me. I'm terrible at these things. So that's why we built in a hint keeper for our game. But yeah, even when we decided that we were going to play it, everybody would say, "Oh, the puzzles are so hard in this one." So I got a lot of forewarning. We
had a lot of people write us in saying, "Hey, I learned how to program because of Seventh Guest." They wrote programs in BASIC or in C to solve the puzzles for them. And so a lot of people, said, hey, I learned how to program because of you. I learned how to program because I wrote this program that solves the bishop puzzle, or I wrote this program that solves
Because he
the
couldn't
queen's
do it on
puzzle.
their own. They had to figure out a way to. Oh, that's great.
And also would hear from people who were, because most people played with more than one person, with a family to solve the puzzles, and the arguments over the mouse of whose turn it was to try and solve the puzzle next to, my turn, my turn, my turn, was just, yeah. We got letters on that too.
Oh, that's great. All right. James Jenkins asks, how crazy was video compression in the days of Seventh Guest?
Well, there really wasn't much before Seventh Guest that was full screen video compression. So Seventh Guest uses binary truncation coding, which is literally just been written around in one paper. And binary truncation coding is taking a 4x4 cell and using 16 bits of on or off, and using two colors to deliver it in those 16 in that 4x4 cell. And so a lot of other game developers told me that was impossible to stream at 150 kilobytes a second, which is what the CD-ROM did. One very famous programmer, one very famous game designer, Chris Crawford, on Genie, which is GM's bulletin board service, said, I don't know if Graeme can make that sing, but I don't think what he's doing is possible. And I'll eat my shoe if that game ever comes out. And Seventh Guest did come out.
Oh, did you
No.
challenge him to? Did you send him some barbecue sauce?
Never sent him any. Chris is great, and he's a legend. So
okay.
Great.
All right, let's see if we get some more here. Monk Dave says, you mentioned a professional relationship with John Carmack. Did you get to go to any of the crazy software engineer parties?
Well, actually, I worked at it for years. I was lead designer on Quake 3. So I don't know if we had any crazy parties.
So apparently
we went to the go on.
Oh no, I'm just reading into it. It sounds like there might have been some fun mayhem back in the day.
It was fun. We spent 18 hours a day working on game balance and on Quake 3 and programming. I don't think John and I did anything crazy except maybe go fast in cars with him. Oh my gosh. John and his cars, these rockets, because he was starting Armadillo Aerospace at the time. So outside our office would be all these crazy things. And I'm like, John, it says toxic on that. He's like, yeah, I should probably move that. Yeah, we should probably move that.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, great. Okay, more coming. Right Said Brett asks, were you on the set for the filming of the FMV sequences on Seventh Guest? If so, what was your experience like watching or being a part of that?
Oh yeah, we shot it in 2 days above my comic book store in Medford, Oregon, against blue painter's paper that we bought at Home Depot. So really high quality stuff. On the very first day, our Edward actor fell through the blue screen, and we taped it together with blue painter's tape.
Oh my God!
You can see that in several scenes, and it was. No one knew what we were doing. No one knew, including us. And we struggled to get through all the scenes because we had a very small set. It was, basically just a stage with a single fixed S video camera. And I kept wondering, are we going to be able to remove that blue because it's so inconsistent? And it turns out we couldn't remove all the blue, so that's why all the ghosts have this crazy aura around them that became the crazy ghost aura. It's just the way it works. And that became part of the legend. But
and one of your actresses, was it Deborah Mason? Is that right?
Deborah Rich Mason was fantastic, and the anchor to the whole thing.
I watched one of the somebody had posted the video that I think that you gave away with the game, which was sort of a behind the scenes back at the time. So I got a chance to look at that, and so I think she was in charge of. Was she not like a community theater director at the time, and used a lot of her regulars and brought them in for this? Yeah.
She was the absolute best. She was the organizer of the whole thing, and without her, there would be no Seventh Guest.
Wow. And I looked her up thinking it would be fun to try to talk with her, but I realized that she passed away a while back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Had you guys stayed in touch at all?
No, we stayed in touch whilst we were in what was to live there, because obviously she's a big part of the community there. But yeah, I was very sad to hear that she passed.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, great. Okay. Let's see what else here. X Mensa says, I'm a sucker for archival stuff. Does the original footage or renders from those Trilobite games still exist, or early builds like the guest demo? Love to see if it was preserved somewhere.
Oh, I really wish. Yeah, we struggled with that even at the time. When Philips made the CDI version of the game, they said, hey, can we have all your assets? So we're like, assets?
Oops.
We had one 500 megabyte hard drive between us. You have to realize most nights we ate noodles. We didn't, or pizza. We didn't have any money.
Yeah.
To persuade Virgin to buy us that 500 megabyte hard drive was a struggle. And for them to buy us $1,000 CD-ROM burner, where it was $100 a disc, was I was like getting blood out of a stone.
Wow.
We had no money for backups, no money for archives, no money for anything.
Well, so what point did, so all that work, all that, and uncertainty, I imagine you knew that you were onto something, but yet you never know if it's going to catch fire or not, right? Or you never know until you finish it, whether it's going to work. And so when it finally does come out and it was very popular, at what point, do you start to feel a little bit of relief financially, where you're like, okay, we can, this is, did Seventh Guest financially give you a little bit of a buffer after a while?
It gave the company a little bit of a buffer. Rob and I never really did that well out of Seventh Guest. We made more money out of 11th Hour. Our contract with Seventh Guest was not, as it turns out, great for us. It was great for Virgin. And we went to Virgin's snazzy new studio afterwards. But because we never got any royalties from the bundled versions of Seventh Guest that came with the CD-ROM drives and the sound cards, so we didn't make any money off those.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing that we lost out on. But I think coming back from that CES where Marston put the Seventh Guest out onto the floor, on that plane back, I remember sitting next to Rob, and Rob and I looked at each other and we're like, we got to bloody finish this thing.
Too much.
And
too much.
And that was, oh my goodness, that was something we didn't know.
Yeah. All right, let's do a few more here. Stu's game reviews. What did you think about Rob's game point of view?
Actually, I don't know if I've played Rob's game point of view.
No.
Rob and I
sorry, go ahead.
Rob and I party waits back after Clan Destiny, and he went on to make a couple of games himself, Tender Loving Care point of view, and great for him. We actually, for many reasons, didn't talk until a few years ago, but we started talking again maybe 5 years ago. Putting everything under the bridge, and but I actually didn't play his games. It was I feel bad for that now.
Yeah, so right, why would you play someone's games if I like any partnership, it's so intense, and when things when it's time to part, it can be pretty, I'm sure, I can only imagine how intense that can be, right?
That was not the best of times. That was basically the pressure of Trilobite was terrible. I didn't like it, and I wanted to leave, and so I went to Trilobite had investment at the time. It had $7 million of investment from Paul Allen, and I went to the board and said I'm leaving, and just I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't doing well. I'd hardly seen my daughter, who was now 3, and I was just working terrible hours, and I just recently been in hospital after keeling over with 11th Hour, and it was time to call it a day. And the board said, Graeme, you can't leave. We're going to make Rob leave. And I was like, that's even worse.
Oh, that's not putting the pressure on you for someone else's career, right?
Because Rob wanted what we were doing. Rob was still going. And so it took that course. And that was the worst possible outcome, to leave me with the thing I didn't want. But of course I did. It's people I loved being with in that company. But, to reshape it and do all the things we tried to do, it was not a good time.
No, that makes sense. I'm sorry I had to go through that. Let's take a look here. Oh, if people want to know if you were, James is asking, let's see, It's the best thing I've seen. You're getting a lot of Twin Peaks lovers here. Terming Boss says, Graeme, were you responsible for coming up with the puzzles?
Rob did most of the puzzle design. He was very good at that. That was his genius. We both loved the game The Fool's Errand, which was a previous game that we both had played. And Matthew Costello, who wrote the script for the Seventh Guest, was the editor, or one of the contributing editors for Games magazine, which is a paper magazine at the time that had puzzles in it. And so we drew puzzles from that too. I did several of the puzzles. I think I did the attic puzzle, the microscope puzzle, and the wooden block puzzle. But most of the other puzzles were classic puzzles. I certainly programmed them all.
Gotcha.
And I'm really sorry about the one bug in the wooden blocks puzzle that's still there.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, I don't think I've got to that one yet. So let's see. A couple more questions, and we'll start to play the game a little bit. So, Graeme, were you involved? Velvet TK wants to know if you were involved with the mail order only Uncle Henry's Playhouse or production of Clandestiny.
Oh, of course, yeah. Both of those. Uncle Henry's Playhouse seemed like an obviously great idea. We had a much better graphical fidelity of the 11th Hour player that we could do the Seventh Guest puzzles in. We thought that would be a great vehicle for Uncle Henry's Playhouse. At the time, though, Trilobite was losing its ability to do marketing. There was no internet. So we thought that the game was a great idea, but unfortunately we weren't able to push anything behind it. And Clandestiny started off as all my idea. That was my initial storyline, and that was my, that was my game. Whereas Rob's game was Tender Loving Care, and my game was Clandestiny.
Gotcha.
But James Yakota became the main game designer on Clandestiny and did a fantastic job. Whilst I finished off 11th Hour, and 11th Hour became quite the job to finish.
Not bad. Speaking of 11th Hour, and then right after that, and Mike MVP wants to know, I'm curious to know Graeme's view on the 13th doll.
Oh, I backed that as soon as it was out. Of course I did. The second that sucker was going, I backed that thing.
Yeah.
And I played it. I played through the first few puzzles, and it's fantastic. Oh my God, if someone's going to make a fan-based game based upon your original game, of course I'm backing that sucker the second it comes out.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. That's great. Oh, very cool. All right. Well, listen, you met my partner briefly in the Zoom tech before we started, but Daniel Albu is he is a game designer himself, based out of Israel, and he and I have been working together for over a year now. He's a scholar of all things adventure games, and I know that he is a huge fan of yours, and he's actually put his own questions in here, which I've ignored because I'd like him to be able to come on and ask you these questions himself. So if I can do that, I'm going to bring Daniel in and let him ask you a question or two. Here you are, Daniel.
Awesome.
There you go. The floor is yours, Mr. Albu.
First of all, hi, Graeme. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
Back in '94, I was the only kid in my class with a CD-ROM drive. And so every time one of my friends would come over, I'd showcase the Seventh Guest, and it would immediately blow their minds. So thank you for that.
Fantastic.
But I have to apologize because he just said that he didn't get any royalties from the copies of the seventh guest that came bundled with CD-ROM drives, and mine came bundled with a CD-ROM drive. So
it's still fine.
Sorry.
It's perfectly okay.
Okay, I have two questions. First of all, next year is the seventh guest 30th anniversary. And with FMV games like Pandora Directive getting a 4K AI upscale created using the original master tapes, what do you think that the future holds for the seventh guest, given that she said that she didn't keep any master tapes at all, if I understand correctly?
Yeah, that would be hard for them to track that down. I actually after Trilobite for a while, I had all the rights to Seventh Guest, and then Rob expressed an interest in doing Seventh Guest Part 3, and so I sold him the rights for $1. So Rob owns the Seventh Guest, and out of that, he owns Seventh Guest 11th Hour, and I own Clandestiny. But if you want to, Rob, I'm open to a 30th anniversary reunion to go and try and make a 4K redo of Seventh Guest in real time in Unreal. I think that would be more fun to go to than relive the FMV. I think we go redo all those puzzles and have all of the FMV come through and upscale as best we can do. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh man, I
well,
think
me and Paul are working on a fan sequel to Phantasmagoria 2. So we'll do a Phantasmagoria 7th guest crossover.
Oh, can you imagine?
A fan threequel.
Yeah, I think. And can you imagine making having all of the insets to the video stand in a house that you can move around in 3D now, and then you playing the puzzles in actual 3D, so you can put a piece down halfway instead of having to watch the whole puzzle piece. I think that'd be kind of superb. And then newer music by the Fat Man with that'd be great. So yeah, I'm all in on that.
My second question is, the 11th Hour came out a few months after Phantasmagoria, after a few delays, if I recall correctly, because of Windows 95 compatibility, etc. And Phantasmagoria had the same issues. They also delayed their release because of various Windows-related compatibility issues and other production-related issues. Now, since it came out a few months after Phantasmagoria, were you guys playing Phantasmagoria before the release of 11th Hour and thinking which concepts you could borrow, or just ignore the game altogether?
Oh, we were fixed in game design at that point, and assets were done. In 11th Hour was complete game design wise and rendering wise maybe a year before it came out, and the problem was the v32.exe player that 11th Hour relies upon. We would recompress our assets whilst we were refining that algorithm for the compression to make the ROQ files and the ROL files and the RNL files that even Quake 3 uses. So the video compression files. We refined that player over and over and over again, so it would run on the lowest machine that we had to run on, and that was a lengthy process. We had a lot of frustration within Trilobite that all these artists are done, all of a lot of the assets are finished, and the programming which rested upon me for the video compression was just taking longer, and that was. The Phantasmagoria, seeing all those boxes arrive was a great day.
You use them as door stops?
Oh no, we played the heck out of that.
That's great.
That was fun.
Well, somebody just came up, Zwex just came up with the perfect title for our mashup. We're going to call it Fangestaphoria.
Oh yeah, that's what we should call it. That's awesome.
All right. Well, I think this is a perfect time. Now, if anybody needs a break, that's the perfect time to do it. Otherwise, we can hop right in. And if you're up for it, Graeme, we'd love to have you join us for a little seventh guest gameplay. Are you up for it?
Of course I am. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, excellent. Okay, so we need to get our hint keeper in place, and I'm going to move over to the game here,
Okay.
and let's see, where is it? There's the game, and there we are. And can you see the game okay, Graeme?
I can now, yes.
Okay, good. Oh, now this is where you're going to see that I am I'm the little kid in the room who doesn't know anything. I've never played these games before. I've played, because ever since we started conversation with Curtis, I am now up to maybe 4, maybe 5 games I've played ever. So I'm brand new to this stuff. I will say that I love the skeleton hand. I just think even the other games of Phantaz and Phantaz 2, this is by far the most it's really great. It's got a personality to it. No one else has anything like that.
That was all Robert Stein, and that was a lot of programming that Virgin said it isn't possible. You should take that out because it was buggy for a long time. And I'm like, no, I'm getting it in. And in the end, it works.
It's so great. It's so great. Okay, so let's go back to where. What's that?
I should tell you, there's actually an Easter egg on this screen.
Listen. All right, what do we do?
I don't know if anyone knows about it. On your keyboard, you can type the words Zaphod Beeblebrox with a capital Z and capital B from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it will take you to a secret screen.
Zaphod?
Yep.
And do I do a space? All right.
Do a space. Beeblebrox, capital B, double E.
Wait, is it a B as in boy?
B as in boy.
B-E-E. Is it Beetle? B-E-T-L-E?
Hold on, I'm typing it into them.
Maybe I've screwed it up already.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh, you're typing it for me. Okay, there we go. I see. It's in the chat. Beeblebrox. B-L-E-B-R-O-X. Oh, shoot. I'm not doing it. Okay.
Actually, I remember doing it.
All right.
As a kid, I read about it somewhere.
Beeblebrox. All right, let me try this one more time.
I'm not sure that it works in Scum.
P-H-O-D.
Yeah, maybe it's not Scum compatible.
B-L-E-B-R-O-X. Nah, it doesn't seem like it's working.
No, okay.
All right. Oh, and by the way, everyone, for those of you who have already donated, thank you. And now is the time. If you'd like to help us reach our goal, please do so. Daniel has activated all of the. Is this true, Mr. Hintkeeper? All the widgets are activated and ready to go.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah. Okay. Let's get going here.
I think that this Easter egg makes stuff say Groovy, right? Which is the name of the engine.
He says Groovy, and a black and white screen comes up with a picture of every room, and you can jump to any room in the house without having to unlock it. It was my way of jumping around the house really quick whilst I was testing the programming.
Cool.
All right. Well, let's.
And Groovy is the name of the engine, right?
Groovy is the name of the engine, and I think there's a little intro thing that comes up saying Groovy in the beginning. Yeah.
If anybody told me that I'd be in the middle of the day on a Wednesday playing a video game with the designer of the game, and then that we have a skeleton head acting as our innkeeper, I never would have believed it. All right, so let's see what's going on
This
here.
is a typical Wednesday on Conversations with Curtis.
It's true. Ooh, there's some creepy stuff. There's numerous times I wanted to take a look at the paintings. You have all these paintings, and I wanted to see them more, but they're not all available to look at. So, okay, what happens here? All right, so that's just our... So there's a puzzle in here that we haven't solved yet, right? Is it or did we do?
You have a mirror on the left that you can.
A mirror on the left.
Take a look at. Yeah,
There's actually, if you look at the floor as well.
Okay.
The rug has a maze on it, and the maze that is on the rug is the maze that is in the kitchen. And a lot of people get stuck in the maze.
Yes.
So that maze is the maze from the basement of the house.
Oh, I went down there and I got out of there right away. It was too much. It was overwhelming. So this is how we get around in there.
Yeah.
So I think someone suggested I probably take a screenshot of this and have this available to me.
Gosh, I'm not quite sure where the exit is anymore, but it seems like it would be somewhere there.
No, the exit is near the entrance.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfectly easy maze to get around.
All right,
we may have made that a little bit more complicated than we had to, but
So this was your way of saying, use this for later. This is going to help you later on. There's nothing I can do with this now, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
but we had to draw the map ourselves because, nowadays you can take a screenshot on your computer or take a photo on your phone. But back then we wouldn't take a photo of the computer screen and then wait for it to be developed. We drew the map ourselves.
So again, I want to just go back to the hand. You said that this was not an easy thing to create, but whose idea was it to say, look, let's let the player know, when what's available and what isn't?
I know it was. I know whose idea it was to
Curtis Craig.
have the.
Kofi_Moffat Reborn tipped $10 as Paul and Daniel continue their 7-month quest to finish the 7th guest XD.
It's true. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Oh, God. All right. So I'm sorry, Graeme. Go ahead.
I think it was the team. I don't know who on the team came up with the actual idea of the animated.
Okay. That's great. Daniel, you said there was our hint keeper. You said we could look in the mirror. It doesn't look like I can do anything.
That's weird. Maybe we looked at it last week. I don't
Maybe
recall.
so. Yeah. So we just go explore somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah. You want a recap of last week?
Yeah. Let us know what happened.
Okay. So last week, we solved the can puzzle in the kitchen.
Oh, that's an easy one.
An easy one. To whom? A lot. The hint is the bashful doughman craftily, agilely meet secretly near my underground vault. Yeah. So basically, a lot of these words, shy, gypsy, slyly, spryly, triced by my crypt, were our first encounter with these words.
Yeah, that was all Matthew Costello on that puzzle. That was, and when he told me the sentence, I'm like, really? that's okay, Matthew. That's what we'll do.
Well, I remember the hard part was that Daniel, you were the one who told me what the hint was, but I couldn't. If I was playing it by myself, I didn't even know what the hint was or to solve that can puzzle. Where was I supposed to find that?
I think that the hint is stuff tells you the hint in the library, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. Let's see, what do I got here? Am I just wandering into new places I've been before?
Anyway, we entered the maze, and your hint keeper suggested that we save this puzzle for a later date. And then we solved the spiders puzzle at the main door. Then we solved the telescope puzzle, whose solution is there is no possible way. Then we solved the bed puzzle, whose solution is the sky is ruddy.
It's a fan.
Yes.
Phantasmagoria. Get it?
All right, I'll show myself out. Oh gosh, what a joy.
Kofi_Xmensa tipped $5. What a joy. Thanks, guys. Smiley face.
Hey, thank you very much. Sweet. Okay, what do I do now?
The solution was the sky is ruddy, your fate is bloody, which sparked a discussion in the chat about the fact that many of us, including myself, learned the word ruddy from the game. And someone mentioned that this word is more commonly used in the UK, so a lot of US players didn't know the word.
Ruddy.
But Paul did.
Yeah. See, again, there were these wonderful paintings that you zip by, and I want to see them, but we can't. So is there anything to do in...
You can always click on the balloon in here. The balloon's always very funny. The red
balloon.
Why can't you click on that? Huh?
I think, did I do it already? We were in here before, right?
Yeah, with the clown.
Yeah, with the clown.
Yeah, we got that. Okay, I think that we're backtracking. It's been a week, and I've got a horrible short-term memory, so let's see. Daniel, you want to just talk me through where to go next to get us
Yeah.
to our next puzzle?
You need to find the bathroom.
Ooh, is it up here or downstairs?
It's upstairs.
Okay.
Yep.
This guy right here? Nope.
That's
Okay.
it's down the hallway and on the left.
Down the hall and to the left. Now you this is based on a real house in is it in Medford?
In Jacksonville, Oregon,
Jack-
Noonan House, yes, which is
This guy?
I think it was the previous door on the left that you just went past.
Oh, I just want, okay, gotcha. I love that you know everything. This is so great to be able to talk to the person who.
But
Did
yeah,
you-
the Noonan House is in Jacksonville, and it's a very strange house because it stands out in Jacksonville. At the time, it was always decorated for Christmas because the people who owned it always kept Christmas decorations in it. The original owner had lead pipes in, and that's not. I told you wrong.
You told me wrong. Oh, look at that. What's this? Oh, we've seen this, right? Now is
This is Deborah, right?
Deborah, right?
There's Deborah. Yep.
Not if you and I work together. We can solve.
Did you take liberties
Scott's
with
puzzle.
the actual layout of the house?
We can win.
Oh, we completely changed it.
You
Okay.
can get what you want,
Because-
Edward.
Originally, we were just
What
going to
is
use
it that you
photographs on
want?
the inside.
Edward.
And it turns out
Shall I
the
try
house
to
is
guess?
tiny on the inside.
Oh,
Way too small.
I know where the puzzles are to be solved.
Oh, she knows.
I'll take you there. But first,
The perfume. The smell. It's changing. I can't breathe. I feel so sick.
Oh, Edward.
I will give
Edward.
I will give you what you want.
so the person talking is that us? Is that that voiceover, or was that Edward thinking?
Oh, that's ego. Yep,
Okay.
that's you.
That's me. All right.
There's basically you as staff, and then for some of the puzzles, they proved to be so hard that Rob did some VO. So you'll hear Rob doing VO for the puzzles too.
Okay.
Like in the dining room, you go 6 of one and 2 of the other.
That's
That
right.
seems impossible. And yeah, that's all Rob doing that. And
That's great.
basically, we had a sound blaster card, and he would hold the microphone like this, 6 of one and 2 of the other. And yeah, we were laughing our heads off at that. I don't know how many beers we had doing all of those, but it was a lot.
People are marveling at your memory of being able to remember all these things. So am I going down in this room, or do I need to go back down?
No, this is the bedroom, right?
This is a
And you
bedroom.
turn to the left and go down one.
So is this are we on this way?
No,
Yeah.
I think the staircase is to the left. Maybe you should turn to the right.
Wait, Daniel, tell me
Down.
what. Down
Oh.
this way?
If the staircase is to the right, then you should go to the left. And I think this is one. This is the one to the right.
So go
No,
to the this way?
right. Turn right.
All
Turn
right.
right.
Oh, the one just behind us. Okay, gotcha. All right. Turn around.
You can always bring up the map.
I guess I could. This door or the one over here?
That's
No.
the attic door.
Okay, so this door.
Yeah.
There we go. They won't let me in. Oh yeah, well.
No, you need to go
Ah! Turn around
straight
again.
ahead and then turn to the left.
All right, turn to the left. Here we go. You better let me in. Ah, you won't let me in. Not there yet. Okay.
Okay, so you want to do the maze now?
Yeah, let's do the maze.
I think the door's behind you.
All right.
And that door to the...
This guy right here? Okay.
Yeah, try that one.
This is another better. Oh, come on. There we go. Well, so I'm not able to get into any of these. I have to unlock some things, I guess, before we
Then
If you
go to
bring
the
up-
room at the end of the hall, maybe.
All right.
You fight like a cow.
You have Daniel. You have Monkey Island widgets on here. Can't get in here either. A lot of doors we can't get into. Thank
If you
you.
bring up the map, it will show you which rooms you can get into and which rooms you just unlocked.
Which was the map? So we just do this.
And then map. And
So we've done.
You get the second floor. That's the first floor. I think you click on the stairs, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a lot. So the bathroom looks like it must be right here, right?
Yep, that must be the bathroom.
But it doesn't seem to
So
let
it's
us in.
locked.
It's locked
Yeah,
for
it
now.
looks, it's locked still.
Okay.
So maybe we need to go and do the maze.
All right, let's do it.
You know the quick way to the maze
No, I don't know anything about anything.
is through the game room.
I don't even know how to get off this, out of this map.
Farewell.
Farewell. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we're gonna go return, and you said go through the.
Yeah, if you go to the game room,
We going downstairs? Yeah.
no, just go straight to the end of this corridor.
This way or the other way?
Yeah, straight ahead
Okay.
and straight ahead again. And there's a shortcut in this room
Oh, okay.
that takes you right into the kitchen. And now on the board here, go click on the billiard table.
Nice. Oh, this is new. Oh, this is great. Oh, I love it. Okay. Ah! I get to come out of the oven. All right. No, can't do that. Okay.
And the entrance to the maze is on the right there.
I don't think I'm going to even try. Let's see. I guess I can put this thing up. All right. So I am going to take my screenshot. All right.
Well, first you got to solve this puzzle.
Oh, we did this before, right? Did we ever do this, Daniel?
Yeah, we did it.
Oh, I forgot it already. You have to do it again, huh?
Okay.
All right. Oh man. I will never do this.
Okay, click on the one in
Just tell me.
bottom center.
Bottom center.
Finding things a little grating.
He must have had so much fun doing those voiceovers.
Bottom right.
I wish I could quit my stupid job at Wintech and just stream
Nothing
all
ever
day.
seems to slide into place in this place.
Kofi_Zwex tipped $5.
Thanks, Coffee Zwex. God, like it. You're doing. You call himself Coffee Zwex now. Okay, Daniel. Next. This goes down.
Bottom right. Yeah, you did that. Now, yeah, this one goes
Yeah.
down.
Okay.
If I plan to get around this grate, I'll need to get around.
Around.
So this goes over here. Has
Top
to.
center, yeah.
And then this is probably going to go over here.
No,
This goes back
bottom
up.
center. Bottom, yeah.
All right. And then this guy.
Then bottom right.
Bottom right. How many times you have to understand, Graeme, the amount of people that when they were in 8th, 9th grade who had no options other than to just do it over and over and over again to play these games. Oh my gosh. This goes down now, right?
Well,
What was-
hint books was a lucrative business back in the day.
Yeah, were you a part of the hint book industry?
Who wrote the hint book for something? Something because hint book sold very well. Yeah, strangely.
Told you.
I'll bet. Yeah. I'm assuming this one, Daniel.
Yeah, top left.
Okay. And then this goes up. And now. Yeah. This goes here. This is going to go down.
Exactly.
This is going to go.
No. Bring
This
it back. Bring it back. No.
No,
Bring it
okay.
back. No.
Oh. Bring what back?
Okay. Bottom, but
This goes up.
this goes up.
This goes back.
Bottom right. No. Bottom
Oh.
right.
Bottom right.
Move the bottom right.
Man. Oh, God. Okay.
Now
Yeah,
top right.
We actually had to add those stakes.
Yeah, what was the
Well-
reason?
Well, because
For
it
it to
looks
make
like
sense.
it looks like you can walk through.
Exactly.
And gosh, we didn't want the puzzle to be easy.
Right. God forbid. So this one has to go left.
Center top, yeah.
Yeah.
Top center. Then bottom center.
Jeez almighty. This one?
No, just a second.
People think you look. People are commenting on how awesome you look in the stream, Daniel. You're looking great.
Thank you. I'm too invested in this puzzle. Read comments. Okay, so
Okay, wait. Let's see if Graeme
Top
can
center.
get. Let's see if we can get Graeme can get us out of here. What do you think? We're letting you drive this. All right. Let's get out of here, and then I want Graeme to see if he can get us through the maze.
yeah, Graeme, solve the puzzle.
Oh no, I was enjoying you guys getting close.
That's me, Curtis Craig.
Oh, James.
Kofi _James Jenkins tipped $35. My mother caught me playing Seventh Guest during the more sexy scenes and she confiscated my CD.
Oh,
Luckily, I knew where
Oh,
she kept
snap.
it, would play it and then return it just like I found it. Good times.
That's hilarious. Did you hear that, Graeme?
I heard that. That was that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
All the games that were not meant for teenagers were completely consumed by teenagers at the time.
the entire community behind Conversations with Curtis is filled with people who were teenagers who played games they weren't supposed to back in the day.
Yep, exactly. And
you're
they,
so close here at finishing the puzzle.
so am I making a left? I make a left here, right?
And let Graeme help you.
All right, Graeme, what do we do?
Well, you just got to move the middle one up.
The middle one up. This
No,
goes.
that's not right.
No, I think.
I forget. Middle one up. You got to get that one into that place. So, yep. Now move the one to the,
Okay.
the middle one up. Now move the one to the bottom left. Now move the top left down.
Yeah,
Oh, well done.
yeah. Hey, look at that.
You know the game like the back of your hand.
We did
Great
it.
move.
Thank you, Stoff.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, me too. All right, here we go.
How does it feel to be the first living thing to set foot in these dungeons in?
It's great. It's such a great voice. Is that actor still with us?
Oh, yep. He loves being staff too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's Robert Hirschbeck. He is absolutely fantastic.
That's great. And how did you find him?
He was actually part of the
That group?
of the Ashford theatre group, but he's actually an English school teacher in Ashland.
Oh, is that right? Well, he wasn't.
Yeah.
So Ashland has a huge Shakespeare festival. This wasn't a part of
Yeah.
that festival. Was he part of that, or was he part of a more?
I think he's part of the theatre group there. I
Okay.
couldn't tell you his whole career, but
That's
he loves being staff. That's he is.
excellent. Okay, so where am
Go
I?
straight ahead.
All right.
I'm not going to remember this maze. If it was up to me, I would change the audio so it doesn't give you feeling lonely as much.
Go straight ahead.
Okay. It's funny because we had just
Again.
keep going straight.
Yeah.
Graeme, so Victoria and I just played Phantasmagoria for the first time. Oh no, that's not true. Daniel and I did that too, but Daniel and I played The Beast Within, the Gabriel Knight, and there is a maze down where he's trying to avoid a werewolf near the end, and it's very similar to this. So they must have they were taking what you created and honoring it.
I think we could have made the maze maybe a quarter as complex as we did,
Yeah.
and still been okay.
Am I going straight, Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that back in the day they used a lot of mazes in games to artificially lengthen the game, because a lot of adventure games had also mazes in them. Keep going,
All right.
straight ahead.
And chat, I am sorry we're not chatting with you as much today, but we have so much fun talking to Graeme that I hope you all don't
Super
mind.
focused.
Yeah.
Keep going straight ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, we could have put more variation in here too.
Like
Keep going straight ahead.
that was a lot of straight.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, so I kind of see that I have the screenshot up.
Keep
So I'm
going
just
straight
going
ahead.
all the way until I can't go any further, right? And then I have to make a left or a right. Is that correct?
No.
No.
Here
Okay.
you should. No.
Oh, I went back. I went too far.
Come on, come on.
Do I have to go back?
Yeah.
How do I go back? Oh, wait, can I? All right. But I want to. Oh no, we're in trouble already.
no, you're in trouble now.
Oh no.
Thank you for not letting us turn back, Graeme.
There's no turning back.
What programmer did that? There's no turning back, really?
Like I can't turn around. Yeah, that's going back, right? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but who knows
Oh, no.
we're at the moment.
Oh, is the sound up really loud? Yeah, it is really loud. Let me see. How do I turn the
Yeah.
sound down on the?
You can do it from Scum VM. You can use the Control F function F5 and change the options from Scum VM.
Okay, let's do that. Oh yeah, it's up super high. FX. Speech volume. Let's bring it down to about 150, and then we'll bring that down a little bit. So so we've already gotten lost, even though we have the cheat sheet, which just makes it even more, makes me even more pathetic.
Yeah, but we went straight ahead for like 7 times, and then you were sure that we'll continue going straight ahead, and that was the time when we had to turn right. So
Of course. Oh no, let's see. Oh no, let's go back. I want to save. Let's just save. Oh, I could have gone back to maybe I just go back to where we were before.
wait, you didn't load Stabby Stab?
I can reload that if you want me to, and that takes us back to the beginning
No,
of the maze.
but because if you loaded any other game, then we don't have the bishop puzzle solved in this load game. which
No, I didn't
means we
reload.
have
I
to
just saved where we are, so we're able to keep going. Return.
But when you open the game, which game did you?
Wait, why do I have to do this
Oh,
again?
no.
What?
Thank you, Graeme.
Hey, it puts you back in the beginning of the room. So
Wait,
it's the maze is at the beginning of the room
Oh.
is the maze.
All right, so we can. I should be able to do this quickly, but I'm not going to be able to. So let's go. We're going down here. This is going to go up.
Oh, the maze. Once you solve the maze, it's always open. That's
Finding things a little grating.
So we have to do this again. Graeme. I don't know. I'm not paying attention. I'm too busy.
Nothing ever seems to slide into place in this place.
You want to restart the puzzle and we'll do it again?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, restart the puzzle.
All right. And just let's do it fast. Let's get to it quick. Wait, why am I going back?
Okay, now go back.
Are there? I was going to say let's solve one of the easier puzzles, but apparently there aren't any. Okay. Just give me. Let's go quick. Boom. This is
Okay.
this one, right?
Bottom center.
Yeah.
No. No.
No. Okay. Bottom center.
Finding things a little grating.
They won't even let me. I have to listen to his voice before I keep going. All right. Go, Daniel. Go.
Okay. Bottom right.
Bottom right.
Nothing ever seems to
Top
slide
right.
into place in this place.
Top right. Top center. Bottom center.
If I plan to get around this grate, I'll need to get around.
Bottom right.
Bottom right. Man, I think I would have figured this out after a couple hours, but
Top right.
right.
So all these voiceovers are actually Rob. This is all Rob's voice.
Oh, that's
from the-
Rob. I was thinking that
Yeah.
was Staff. He's
Yeah.
great. He's got a really good
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all muffled into that little sound blaster.
Wait, so Ego is Rob? All of the voiceover for Ego is Rob?
The only voice I think you hear of Ego is I can remember nothing in the very beginning.
Yeah, I can remember nothing, but I think that for every puzzle he has a little something that he says when you figure out the way to solve the puzzle. For example, in the bed puzzle, then he says that there aren't any spaces, only stars.
Yeah, I think that's all Rob, because to give away the ending of the game would be, I think-
Paul doesn't know.
I don't know the
of
ending
game,
yet.
so-
Yeah, don't do
So
it.
don't spoil it.
Yeah. All right. So I just moved this way, but I don't know if I should have. This was the last
Okay.
thing we did.
No, you should have.
Okay.
Yeah. And now top left. Bottom left. Bottom center.
Yeah.
Bottom right.
There's our thing. This comes
Yep.
down, right?
Top right. Yeah. Top center. Bottom center.
Okay, now we got it.
Bottom left. Top left.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Bada bing, bada bang.
Bada bing, bada bang.
amazing.
Okay, so now.
Great move.
All right. Thank
I
you.
have a bad feeling about this.
Thank you, Rob. Me too.
How does it feel to be the first
That stuff.
living thing to set foot in these dungeons?
That stuff, yeah.
I can't
Yeah, that's Robert.
how long.
Okay. Hello. I'll follow you. If she just stayed in front of us, that would have been great. If we just continued to see her vision.
And that's actually Diane. That's our office manager there as the ghost.
That's great. So there's. Okay, Daniel. I'm going to not do anything until you tell me. So I'm going to go again.
Straight ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Zuki says save. Should I save right now?
Doesn't matter. We'll start the maze from the beginning if we save.
Okay. Again?
Straight ahead.
Okay.
Straight ahead.
All right. I'm going to.
You moved before I told you.
I know. That's why. So now I can go again?
Yeah, straight ahead.
All right. I heard that you're the composer of the game was quite a character. Is it Fat Man? Is that what they
Yeah,
called
George
him?
Sanger, the fat man.
George Sanger, the Fat Man?
Straight
So-
ahead.
I'd seen him do the music for Wing Commander, which I really loved. And so talked to him at GDC about doing music for Seventh Guest. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I called him
Straight
up
ahead.
Sorry,
on the
keep,
phone and said, hey, I love Danny Elfman. Can you do it like Danny Elfman?
Go right.
Love it. So Daniel will just keep directing me. You keep telling the story.
And he was like, sure, Graeme. And so I was like, okay. And so he sent me the
Straight
music
ahead.
for the up at the dining room, which if you listen to the dining room music is like Danny Elfman. And then he gets on the phone and he's like, Graeme, I listen to music like the Fat Man, and that's the only piece you're ever getting.
Feeling low.
Wait a minute. I want to. Daniel, you got us in a bind. So he basically said, "Don't tell me. I'm going to do it my way. I'm not going to be Danny Elfman."
Yeah, I'm not going to be Danny Elfman. Never tell the Fat Man to be Danny Elfman. And so that was the beginning of a fantastic friendship. And
Go left.
I'm friends with George to the day until today.
I love it. I love it when people speak about themselves in the third person. Never tell the Fat Man to be like Danny Elfman.
He was, back then he was quite the personality.
No, that's great.
Straight ahead.
Straight ahead. Best hint keeper ever. Not going that way.
Go right.
Gonna go right. Oh, I have, what's the word when you feel bad for the victims? Like I have this empathy for all of you.
Go right.
And I'm starting to realize now just how sadistic Graeme and Rob were by making their fans do this.
You know, Graeme, we usually apologize to our guests when we stall or take too much time to solve a puzzle, but in this case, it's your fault.
Yeah, I've been apologizing on the chat for the next puzzle, so just so, I'm
Go right.
even with the solution for the maze puzzle, it could be a little bit easier. It really could. And I'm sorry again to everyone. I'm sorry for the maze puzzle.
I like the music
right.
too. The music is kind of like even saying the
Go
music
right,
has
go
a slight apologetic quality to it too. Like, sorry.
I think that you guys saw that the hint book business is very lucrative, and you thought to yourselves, why not sell a hint book to the hint book? Like the first hint book doesn't have a solution for the maze. Go right. Doesn't have a solution for the maze, so you need to buy the second edition. Go left.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh, I would have. Yeah, I would have never survived.
There's still people lost down here.
That would be hilarious if you had like gaming icons of all the dead bodies who never finished.
Go right.
Oh my goodness.
We keep exploring the maze. We'll find people here.
Now, this.
Find it.
Now, if someone were watching this, they'd feel like we are just wandering aimlessly, but Daniel is actually telling us the route to get to where we need to get to.
Straight ahead.
Oh my gosh. There has to be like some great letters of outrage that you must have received over your career.
The maze puzzle certainly caused the most frustration because it's just endless.
Go right.
Okie dokie. Feels like we were just here.
Go left.
Oh, we just did this. Is this?
You shouldn't have turned down here.
Oh yeah. Are you trying to fake me out? Whoosh. This is like, is this was Doom before this, or was this before Doom?
It's around the same time.
Around the same time, yep.
Don't think you'll be so lucky next time.
Oh yes, we will. We've got a hint book. Uh-oh.
Clearly, an open and shut case.
So I love that he's mad at us, and he said he's yelling, and then immediately he's laughing maniacally. Okay, so now we gotta figure out how to get dead bodies out of a. So we went straight from a maze to a puzzle.
This was actually the first puzzle that we programmed, and it's based on growing up, I had an old game called Merlin. This is actually one of my puzzles. I don't know if you remember Merlin. It was a red toy that Palazoy made, and I forget who made it in the States.
Gosh, I vaguely remember that one. Yeah.
And it had a bunch of games on it. And one of the games was very much like the modern game Lights Out that you play, but it was played on a 3x3 maze, a 3x3 grid. So, and I wanted a version of the Merlin puzzle that was just using gravestones. But I didn't play the animation that goes down the stairs to the catacombs. That's great animation.
Moffat Reborn just said that was the longest path to get to this place's bathroom. So yeah, that's how we find it. and Shazner said that one really kills the speed runs too. Yeah, that's a tough one if you're going to try to do a speed through of. Yeah, I don't think there are too many speed throughs of Seventh Guest.
Oh, you'd be amazed on Twitch.
Yeah, there are.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't even know what to do. Am I trying to get these bodies out of here and into somewhere else? Or do I have to just, as part of my job is to figure out what the puzzle is in the first place?
Tell them, Graeme.
All closed or all open. I forget which way it is. Let's try for all closed. Just generally
closed.
go. So if you go for the top left corner.
Yeah.
Finding things a little cryptic.
And then for the bottom right corner. And now hit the one that's open. And now hit
An open and shut case. Or
now hit the
casket,
center.
perhaps.
The center, this one?
Yep. Now hit the bottom center.
The four winds change at every turn?
So every time you open or close one, it opens up how many?
Now hit top.
The
Top
adjacent ones.
Top left?
Top left and top right. And now top center.
Top center.
And now go around and do all four corners.
Say that last part again.
Go around and do all four corners now.
So 1, 2, 3.
What state are we in here? And now we've got it nice and symmetrical, so it's now to all of the open ones, all the closed ones. Sorry.
Okay. Does it matter what order?
No.
Okay.
Excuse my coffin.
Stuff's got COVID.
Oh my gosh. So am I sticking with the ones that were originally closed? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excuse my coffin. Oh, we got them all open.
Now to all four corners again.
All four corners. Okay. 1. Dang. 2. 3. This is complicated even when I'm just being told what to do.
And now to the center.
The center. Oh,
Wow.
nice work, Graeme. Well done. Well done. Remembering your puzzle of old.
Oh, it plays it downstairs afterwards. And that was the first animation that we did after the stairs.
Oh, this is cool. That looks really cool. Oh, we got to.
Let me go.
With her.
It's all right, son. You're okay. Don't worry.
Oh, her face.
It's
Oh.
just an illusion. An illusion. An illusion. An illusion. An illusion.
That's so great. I mean, it's and one of the things that Deborah said in the video that made sense and actually really adds so much charm to this is that because the camera was in one place. She really felt like the acting had to be big and theatrical because there was no opportunities for close up or for nuance. So she really directed the actors to just go as broad as possible, and they sure did. I love that, just walking up to the guy and within just gently touching his neck, and it breaks and he's dead just like that. All right. Okay, what do I do? I gotta wander around here. Let's see. Oh, do I want to go in here? I don't want to have to do this puzzle again. Ooh. Oh no! Am I back in the?
No, what have you done?
I opened up the coffin. I just thought I would.
It's fine. It's fine. That's what
Yeah,
you're supposed
you're
to.
good.
You jerk! You jerk! I want to. Is there anything to eat? I want some food. No, can't get in the fridge. Can't make a phone call. You're toying with me, Graeme. There's all these things. All right.
You can leave the kitchen.
All right, go leave the kitchen.
Maybe you should take a look at the map to see if any new rooms have opened.
Oh, good idea. Let's do that. Graeme, when you look at your old games, do you just have fun knowing that that's what they were when you, at the time that you did it, or do you still have those moments of like, I wish I could have? Do you still have those moments of wanting to fix something?
With some of them, yeah, definitely. With obviously some of the puzzles, we went way over. And there was no testing. I mean, we tested Seventh Guest on all of us, 4 people. So there was no way to go make the puzzles easier. We'd make some of the puzzles simpler in retrospect.
Yeah.
And that would have been, I think, made the game much more approachable by more people.
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Daniel?
First of all, you should save the game.
Okay, I can do that.
I mean, nowadays we do, all these metrics on games. So we have all of the stats on where people stop playing, where people fall off playing the game, and all the things. We had none of that back then, and so that it'd be interesting to go back in retrospect and adjust some parts of Seventh Guest, but I don't know if I'd change any of it because it's the piece of art that stands on its own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have a question for you as a developer. Did you play the games after they shipped?
I played so much of the Seventh Guest before it shipped.
After it shipped, because nowadays when you play a game after it shipped, then you can find bugs and then you upload a patch and that's it. But back then, if you would have found a bug, then you would have known that there are hundreds of thousands of copies with that bug, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, the worst was making a cartridge. So when I made Spot for the Nintendo, that was a cartridge game, and so back then you weren't allowed to put credits in your game. So I secretly put in that if you played the 4 AIs on hardest against each other, at the end of the game it would show credits in the crowd. It would show all the credits for the game. And so I remember getting called into Martin Alpha's office, and he's like, "Is this true, Graeme? You add any credits to the game?" And that's against Nintendo's. And like, yeah. And he goes, "Those cartridges are on boats from Japan right now over to the US, and I really should fire you for this." So I almost got fired over putting credits into a cartridge game, but they couldn't change it. They couldn't take it out, but they were absolutely furious at me for doing that. And that was something crazy I added into the Spot game.
Wow.
By the way, is it true that Nintendo bought the rights to this game so that Sega wouldn't be able to release it on the Sega CD?
That is very true. Sega bought the rights to Seventh Guest, and then Miyamoto-san came over to Jacksonville and had a barbecue at my house. And we sat looking out over the Rogue Valley, and he told me about how great cartridges were for children, be able to put cartridges into the system, how that was much more preferable for Nintendo at that point. They hadn't made a GameCube or anything like it yet. And how much he liked Seventh Guest, but they weren't going to make a version.
Wow.
But it was great to meet him.
Wow. Hey, Daniel, why don't you become yourself again? And I'm going to bring us to a different...
This is like a Lady Gaga concert, so many costume changes.
Let's do that. And let's see. Let me get rid of my hint keeper for now. There we go. And then I think this is a perfect time to wrap up. Maybe answer a couple more chat questions, and then let Graeme get on with the rest of his life here. He's taking some time away. So here we go. Let's see. Okay, so here we are. We're all here together. So I just saw a couple of fun. Let's see. Joseph Austin said, wait, I just missed it. Someone said, Spot was really good. The music and gameplay were top notch, and it would get hard as nails at times.
Yeah.
Joseph said, I loved NES Spot, Graeme. I think I'm the only person I know who has played it, but I loved it. It even had a custom level maker.
Yeah, it did. And it saved it out. And that game did incredibly well for Virgin, mostly with Blockbuster when you could rent cartridges. The Virgin sold a ton of them to Blockbuster because it was their top renting cartridges for like a long time. I was always amazed at that. And we actually made it before Virgin was a licensed Nintendo developer. So Dan Chang and I programmed it on basically what's called EPROMs, which meant we had to program the EPROM in assembly code and then make the binary, burn the EPROM, and use a gold Zelda cartridge, put the EPROM into the gold Zelda cartridge and try the game. There was no debugging. So every morning, Dan and I had to line up at Toys R Us to try and buy the Zelda games so we could have more Zelda cartridges because, we used to go through these Zelda cartridges like crazy because it was possible to solder it in badly and take the Zelda chip out and put our own EPROMs in so we could actually go make the game. So the turnaround on making a game for that thing was horrendous and
just crazy the lengths that you would have to go to back in the day to make something happen. It's just, you were so creative in terms of making, finding your way.
Yeah, we made that game sitting, in my apartment because it was just Dan and I for 6 weeks, just because it was 6 weeks of dev, just start to finish. Made the game, finished it. We both drove it out to Vegas for CES. We showed up, and we were both really sick with the flu. And I always remember Justin Heber's there. We give him the cartridge, and he's like, "You guys are done. Go away." And that was the best advice I think he ever gave.
Oh, that's great. Well, Daniel, I want to say I'm going to let you go, and then I'm going to I'll sort of work our way back to. I'm going to move my way to. Let's see. Got to find the right thing here. There we go. So, Graeme, hey, thank you so much for taking 2 hours out of your Wednesday to spend some time with us. It's a real pleasure meeting you.
No problem. Fantastic to be here. I didn't realize 2 hours had gone by.
Isn't that something? Yeah,
wow.
You've created this.
Yeah.
It's funny. Somebody also just wrote, Mike MVP writes, I kind of love how ridiculously difficult the puzzles in The Seventh Guest are, and I think it's one of the things that made it what it is. And
That actually got me.
oh, hold on. James, thank you.
James Jenkins tipped $15.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. And I do think that there is a sort of badge of honor for anyone who played this game on their way through. And we are going to get through this as much as help as I can get. But I'm looking forward to continuing to play. And I hope we get to stay in touch. I'd love to find out. And when your next game does come out, we would really excited to promote it and do what we can to help get the word out.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for having me here.
You're welcome, and everybody's just thrilled to have you, and everybody sends their regards, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay then.
All right,
Thank you.
take care. Bye-bye, Graeme.
Bye-bye.
All right. Wow, that was a blast. Thank you guys so much for joining us. How great it is to have the creator of a game join us and play it and talk about it. So we'll be back next Wednesday. Our hope is to speed through this game. Let's see, Daniel, are you still there? Let's see if I can get you on. That's not going to work. All right, but Daniel, you're there, and you can chime in. But so the game next week we have this Friday. Just a reminder, this Friday we have Return to Monkey Island. Next Monday,
Secret of Monkey Island.
Secret of Monkey Island. That's apparently you finished it. Did you finish it?
Yeah, I finished it the other day.
And
it was amazing.
Okay, James, you got us to 50%. Thank you. You are. I can tell you like keeping it even. I don't know if we can. Are we going to be able to get the number of the dollars on the coffee widget, or is it just the percentage?
No, we just get the percentage, but we'll talk to the CEO and see what we can do.
Yeah, I don't know if I said this in the opening, but the CEO of Coffee reached out to me on Twitter and said that he had watched part of our stream and he loved Monkey Island and he wanted to know how we felt about coffee. And that was not just the CEO, the guy who founded it. And so we got a chance to chat with him a little bit. Daniel gave him some great feedback, and he's going to take that feedback back to his team, and we'll see if we can help make coffee even better than it is. But we appreciate those guys. So yeah, lots going on. October's coming up, and we're gonna. So here's an idea, and tell me what you guys think. Now I know that Daniel and I just played Phantasmagoria 2. That was the first game we played, and I got to play that game for the first time. And then, of course, we played Phantasmagoria with Tori, and now we're moving on. And while it's definitely too early to be going back to any of these games, the idea of having Tori play Phantasmagoria 2 just is too good to pass up. And so we're trying to figure out if she'd be up for it. Maybe on Halloween Day, we'd have to figure out how to get the controls to her and sort of teach her how to run it, but have her be in control and play maybe the first chapter of Phantasmagoria 2 and watch her reaction to that. So that would be one thought that we have of one of our Halloween offerings. So be curious what you guys think about that. And if you have other suggestions or games that you think we should play around with, let us know. And that's all I got. Anything else, Daniel, before I let everybody out of here, before I let us out of here?
I'll meet you all on Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you on Friday. Thank you so much for joining, you guys. Really appreciate it, as always. And I will quickly give a little bit of love to our patrons. As always, those guys are helping keep us going. And if you can see fit to join us on Patreon or now on Coffee, because that is a opportunity to join us on a monthly basis too, then you can do that.
Just a second. Josefina asked, she had trouble donating. Josefina, unlike previously with the super chat, you can donate even between streams. So if you had any issues with donating, you can still donate after the stream.
There you go. And that is it. And James Jenkins, I thank you so much. And I did send an email back to you. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I sent it to you through the Patreon. So I'd love to touch base with you that way. So everybody else, thank you for your time. Have a great rest of your week, and we will see you on Friday. All right, take care all. Bye-bye. So long. Stupid seventh guest.